Okay, it is 6:30 on Monday, May 13th. Welcome to the Planning Commission meeting. And let's see, we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you could all rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you. Jackie, the roll call.
Chair Clowitter. Vice Chair Schwartz. Commissioner Lee. Commissioner McMorris.
We are waiting for him.
Commissioner McMorris will be absent this evening.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And Commissioner Crapman.
That's who we're waiting.
Yes. So we're waiting for.
All right, thanks, Jackie. Okay, tonight's meeting is live streamed on cable channel 3 and on our online platforms through the city. Let's see, for public comment, this is the time set aside for members of the public to address the Planning Commission on items of interest that are not on the agenda tonight, but are within the subject matter and jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. Pursuant to the Brown Act, the Planning Commission cannot answer any questions or take any action until such time as the matter may appear as an item on a future agenda. But you can bring it to our attention. If you would wish to address the Planning Commission, please fill out a speaker card. It's available on the back table. Once completed, kindly submit the card to Jackie up here. Hey, Matt. No problem. Okay, submit your cards if you want to speak to Jackie, and speakers will be called upon up to the podium one by one, and each speaker will be given up to 3 minutes to speak. Any speaker cards?
We did not receive any speaker card for non-agenda.
Non-agenda items for public comment?
Yes, but we do have one under consent, item 2B.
Okay, good. We'll hold that until next item. Okay, so we close the public comment, and let's see, we're looking at a consent calendar. Let's see, do we want to split these in two, or do we want to go ahead and, since we do have a public comment?
That's up to the commission. If somebody wants to pull an item for a separate review, they can, but the commenter can comment on any item on the consent calendar as part of the public comment for consent. You don't have to pull the item separately for a separate vote.
Okay. So let's hold off on the approval of the minutes. Actually, it's number 1 on the agenda. Come on up. Jackie, we got a speaker card. Has everybody read the minutes? Do we have any comments? I don't. Okay. Okay, and then the second item that we have is the Capital Improvement Program. This is the 5-year report, 24-25 through 29-30. Which was in our package, and we have reviewed pretty much at length. Do we have any comments on that before we go to the public comment? Okay. Jerry? No. Okay, good. Hey?
Yes, I was going through what we are planning to do as a city to improve on the capital improvement programs. Just want to state my comments as usual as last year, right? The intersection improvements that we are trying to do to widen the intersections, adding the right turn lanes. It might have adverse impact down the road because the trend is like tightening the corner, widening the sidewalk, but we are going in the opposite direction. So that's what my comments would be. Also, I want to make a comments on the bridge repair programs that we have it in our package. When we are touching the bridges, I recommend like go ahead and then make it ADA compliant sidewalk, because most of our bridges sidewalks are very narrow and it's not even a stroller passable condition. So there's another thing. One more thing is the sidewalk repair, or like a safe route to school programs that we are having in our package. I would recommend to have included in the like a half-a-mile radius near the schools to like repair the sidewalk, or like to build a sidewalk, because in our cities, there's a lot of places that we don't have a sidewalk. So basically, like a couple of days ago, on San Marino Avenue, I see kids just go off the streets near the, basically walking on the streets to bypass the area that we don't have a sidewalk to walk on. So these are the comments that I have.
So as far as the public, if they have any comments or issues, they should be taken to the city staff, contact the planning department directly?
Well,
What do you suggest?
that would be to contact the Public Works Department.
Public Works Department, of course.
This evening, the Public Works Director is available if there are questions to that.
Okay. Did you want to speak to the sidewalks and the ADA ramps?
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Greg DeVink. I'm the Public Works Director and City Engineer. I will be happy to address any questions you want of me. So to address missing sidewalks or ADA, or I'll start with missing sidewalks. We definitely realize a lot of properties don't have sidewalks. Some of them are fairly easy to just form and pour some sidewalks, and some people have kind of taken possession, and there's trees now and other problems. However, I've been here about 5.5 years, and over that time, when I got here, our streets were rated the worst condition of all cities around us, and that really was the priority from the general public and other city staff. What should we really focus on? We've put in a very extensive street program in the 5 years I've been here, and now we're ranked #1 among all the cities around us. We're not done. There's obvious problems like Valley, Walnut Grove, Broadway. They're still in terrible condition, but we had many streets in that condition before. The Public Works, or even the CIP budget, is almost entirely grant funds. It's not really a general funded program. So some of the grants are tied up, but there certainly are some of the grants are flexible enough to include sidewalks. Up until, well, even up till today, the priority is still streets. Our next biggest project is still Valley, Broadway, Walnut Grove. We have done very minimal, a few parcels of missing sidewalk over 5 years with in-house staff, but it hasn't really been contracted out. Currently, starting this month or next month, we do have a specific project that's putting in 8 ADA ramps and fixing sidewalks on Girona for the 2 and I think the 2 and 300 blocks. Yeah. It's, well, yeah, the trees are the enemy of sidewalks and curbs and gutters and drainage and sprinklers and sewers, but we love trees, right?
It's a beautiful street.
Yeah, trees are great. I have nothing against trees other than all the destruction of my infrastructure. But it's just been a city focus. As we get the streets really under control, I think this current year project and next year's project probably getting the last bad streets, then we can start diverting off of paving and get more into sidewalk infrastructure, because it is a forever problem. Trees just keep growing, roots keep growing. We have very recently implemented a citywide inspection program. Not so much, well, I mean, missing will be documented, but My plan of attack for that program is we made a GIS layer. We can probably make it public facing. I have an inspector that inspects the entire north half of the city one year, south half of the city the next year, and rates all trip hazards, and missing sidewalk would be in that category too. But then we have an implementation program where we go out and significant trip hazards like 2 inches, which are crazy to think are out there, but they're all over. We go out there and maybe we mitigate it quickly with some ramping. If it's like 1 inch, we can grind it. If it's worse than that, we'll remove segments and pour new squares. So there's a program that's just starting right now. We're kind of late to really implement something. We should have had it. But it is, one half of the city has been inspected. I believe the GIS layer has been updated. But that's the program moving forward, and we hope to have more money available for missing sidewalks as well. And ADA ramps. We're missing ADA ramps at corners too.
But it's definitely on the radar
Oh, yeah,
for-
yeah.
for the
yeah.
future.
Mhm.
Good. Okay.
Oh, yeah, thank you for answering the comments. What about, like, in this package, we have, I believe, some bridge repair, right? The scope would be included widening the sidewalk for wheelchair passable?
There's two kind of categories I can think of for bridge repair. One is money we have allocated because the county actually and Caltrans both have involvement, and we just kind of pay for them. They send us bills. There's another bridge project where we received a grant to replace a pedestrian bridge that goes over the flood channel at Lugo. I don't think you're talking about that one, are you? Because that has non-ADA sidewalks as well. We're hoping to, right now we're seeking permission and approval from Flood Control District and Army Corps of Engineers. They both are involved in the right-of-way. But the intent is to replace the whole wood superstructure because it's just rotted. But then the approach is, particularly on the north end, is we'll redo the DG path that goes to Lugo Park, and then the path that goes the other way. I forget which street it goes to, but it's not even close to ADA. It's pretty steep. And it's kind of shocking if you look at it. The protective barrier between the path and the flood channel is some barbed wire that's about 1 foot or 2 high. So if kids are horse playing, you know, at best they'll cut themselves, but at worst they'll fall into the channel. So we will be improving the handrails along there as well. For the vehicle bridges, it's really a joint program, but we don't have the means in-house, or we don't even contract out other than with the county, and they kind of do the upgrades that they want. They just tell us how much and we pay to keep in compliance.
Okay. Yeah, I was talking about the vehicle bridges because
Okay.
we have quite a few vehicle bridges in our city. The sidewalk is very narrow.
Mm-hmm.
Regarding some of the major intersections improvements, we are devoting so much of our special funds, like some of the intersections, like 1.9, over $3 million, you know, like
Yeah.
devoted for intersection improvements. And if you look around those intersections, you see a lot of developments happening around that intersections. So what I would recommend is freeing up some of the funds, right? Devoting not as much, and then use it somewhere else, and then coming up with the private-public partnership, because the impact mitigations should be, you know, like they should kind of show up some burdens because of these developments happening around that intersections, right? So that is one thing that I want to recommend.
I think I can clarify some of, I understand what you're saying, and even not wanting more lanes as, I guess, contradictory to improving things for pedestrians. The 4 largest intersections, it's on Valley at New, Del Mar, and San Gabriel, and then up here, Las Tunas and Mission. Those are I'd say between all of those, I'm not sure, $15 million. It's a lot of money. What that is when the 710 freeway was canceled, Caltrans already collected money on a bond measure, over $700 million. And they solicited all the agencies they felt were affected by the loss of that freeway closure as to what to do with the money. So before my time here, San Gabriel submitted a whole list of project improvements and submitted it to the Caltrans board. They all got filtered. These intersections were approved. The criteria for qualifying is 100% traffic mitigation. So that's it. If it doesn't reduce traffic, they wouldn't approve it. So these intersections, I think it's maybe a little misleading to say they're adding lanes, because it's not more throughput in the straight direction. They're adding turn pockets where you get a green light, the car ahead of you wants to go left, but no one else can go now because there's opposing traffic. So we're adding turn pockets for the left lane so they get their own phase. There will be new signals, new phase timing. There will, as a result, be new ramps and crosswalks and pedestrian improvements. But that money is really locked up. Caltrans won't allow it to be diverted or changed to anything except traffic mitigation for the projects that have already been approved by their board. So that's inflexible. What we did also do is manage to get another $1 million put into cameras. And what's really neat about the current technology with cameras is, I don't know if you've seen, right now we're installing fiber conduit. They're on Delmar right now. We've already finished Valley and San Gabriel. But we're connecting all our signals with fiber optics back to the Public Works for a kind of a semi-autonomous control of everything. And the new camera technology actually has artificial intelligence to recognize pedestrians, bicycles, the speed of every car, whether it's a truck, a bus, emergency vehicles. It recognizes everything. What's pretty cool to me, and I think to you, is that it can see there's a pedestrian and they're moving slow and they're not done and it's going to take them another 8 seconds to get to the other side. Let's delay the red even longer. It has that technology, which is really great. It also tracks vehicles. I mean, if there was an accident, it's an unfortunate reality, there will be another accident someday. It tracks everything. It shows who's going how fast and where they are and what the traffic phase was. Did they violate? Did they run a red, push a yellow? It really documents everything. It's also learning, but it's smart enough that I think it will help pedestrians and bicycles and offer learning data for what did go wrong and what else could we have done. So I'm actually very much in support of these turning lanes because we all get stuck behind a car wanting to go left and no one else can move because it's a single lane. That just creates traffic. The whole signal has less throughput. It creates pollution, noise, frustration, burning gas, cost. So really this project is very focused on traffic mitigation. There will be safety enhancements such as ramps and smart technology for pedestrians and bicycles associated, but it's very locked up. I can't undo it, change it, move money to something different.
I understood that the program is already approved by the Caltrans or the grantor, right? It has very little flexibility to change it. However, I just want to point out that Metro Board or any agency still have to answer to the citizens, right? So that's one thing. Another thing that I want to say is whatever you point out about in favor of a right turn lane or left turn lanes or turning movements lanes is your opinions, right?
Yes.
And but there's in the industrial wide, there's a lot of studies done to rebut your opinion you just stated.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I understand you mentioned there's a trend for bulb outs, shortening crossing distances for pedestrians, bringing them more towards the street for better visibility. I agree with that too, and we recently applied for and got a grant through the Metro Review for the 12 intersection improvements and the bike lane extension on Delmar. Those are largely bump outs, flashing pedestrian signs, paint, more enhancement, and the bike lane extension. So we do both. And I do think sidewalk bump outs and shortening things off the arterial streets and, definitely in school zones or in areas where we have a history of accidents, it's definitely warranted. We're proceeding in both directions.
All right. Well, thanks for your information. We appreciate you coming and staying late.
Great job on the streets.
Thank you.
Good job.
Very proud of them.
As a citizen, I've been complaining about it for years, and you guys are doing a great job. I just want to express my appreciation.
Now, I love Public Works. If you want me to brag about what we do for another hour, I'll be happy to do it. So.
Well, it shows. Thank you. All right. Jackie, you said we had a comment?
Yes, it's Mr. Jeff Santner.
Yep, please. Yeah.
Good evening. Hi, everyone.
State your name and address, and then we can.
Jeff
from there.
Santner, 221 Orange Street, like just a few blocks south of here, across the train tracks. So I wrote a long email to be read into the comments. I had time to come here, so I'm just going to say it. But a lot of what I said has been covered already, so I might just kind of go off the cuff.
Okay.
So mostly I'm in agreement with Commissioner Lee, so I'm glad you brought that up, probably more eloquently than I would have, that I'm concerned about adding these turn pockets, which will make pedestrian crossings longer distance. Maybe it makes sense on the valley intersections, because that's such a big arterial, but some of the other ones don't seem to make sense to me. Let me see which ones I wrote down here, because I wrote a few. Like specifically, like Broadway and Walnut Grove, that is, I looked on a map, it's very close to a school. It makes more sense to do bump outs and make pedestrian crossing easier than to add turn lanes and make kids walking to school travel farther. Especially because Broadway is parallel to Las Tunas. People can drive there, or Mission, we don't need high speed on Broadway. And Walnut Grove is parallel to San Gabriel Boulevard and Rosemead Boulevard. That's where the traffic should be going, not near the school. So making it easier for people to drive in these areas encourages them to drive near the school instead of driving on the higher speed roads where they'd be away from pedestrians. The Mission Las Tunas intersection, similarly, that's like our historic area where we are right now. I don't think it makes sense to encourage more cars to drive through the Mission district. We want people walking in the Mission, going to the shops, going to the Playhouse, going to all the events that we have in the Mission. I think, if anything, we should have one lane in each direction instead of 2 or 3 that they have up near that intersection. Other things, I saw on that same list, there's the Las Tunas enhancement project. That looks really great. I'm really excited for that. I know the drawing's not done, it's not complete. I know we had a bicycle master plan like 10 years ago that was accepted. That includes a bike lane on that street. So hopefully if you're repaving it and improving it, you include the recommendations from that bicycle master plan. Similarly, there's the resurfacing program in this package. When you're repaving a street, redoing the paint, if it's part of that bicycle master plan, I think it makes sense to just paint the bike lane that the accepted plan recommended for that street. Yeah, what else was there? Sidewalks, it's great. And a lot of the things I had written down were kind of explained well by the Public Works Department. When the sidewalk plan will it be released publicly so we can see which sidewalks are going to be fixed and improved? I guess it's a question for you, not for them.
They're all for me.
Yeah.
All right. I just, there's a series of questions. I want to answer them all, but I got to do it one at a time. Let's, yeah, I did. Except I didn't bring glasses and I can't read it.
Jeff, I'm sorry, Greg, before you begin, Jeff, do you want to make sure you cover all of your items? Then that way the Public Works Director can respond in one go?
I think that was the last item,
Well, he's going to have to feed them to me again.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
I think the first one was lanes at, well, let's do Broadway and Walnut Grove. So that project is, again, putting in turn pockets. We've already, it's many years old. I think it's like 10 years old. We've purchased right-of-way from the corner properties, both temporary right-of-way for construction easements while we build it, and then permanent right-of-way. At Las Tunas and Mission and Broadway and Walnut Grove, the widening is not as extreme as a whole new lane. We need to purchase maybe 2-3 feet to actually fit a lane. It's not another 12 feet. Again, it's to not have traffic congestion. And Broadway and Walnut Grove, I would say the principal complainer for that intersection is the school. I don't go there at pickup and drop off time for school. I go there in the middle of the day and it seems to flow okay. I get through in one light cycle. But I'm told in the morning it's a disaster. It's just jammed way up because, again, a car wants to turn left and no one else can go through and everyone's commuting to work and they're blocked by someone dropping off their child. We will be putting in handicap ramps at the corner as part of that. We are certainly interested in pedestrian safety. There will be new traffic signals with new phase timing and, again, new equipment to detect, possibly give a child more time if they're going slow or not paying attention or whatever. We've had an interesting thing. One thing is these projects aren't going to change a lot of driver behavior. If people don't want to be on San Gabriel because they don't like it, it's 3 blocks out of their way, or because they think this is faster, it's still what they're going to do. There is kind of an expectation when we repave the street, make it nice and smooth, cars are going to go faster than when they drive on the gravel that the streets become with potholes. We actually did a study on Country Club because they lobbied for speed humps, and then we paved the street and they said cars are just going to go even faster than they used to. We put up speed radar signs that recorded all the traffic data, and there's violators on every street, but the actual bell curve of speeding didn't change when we paved it, and it was like gravel. It was really bad. And we made it wider because the golf course mulch just kept encroaching probably 10 feet into our right-of-way over the years. So, I mean, that's a bit of the reasoning. And, the pedestrian crossing, if we do take right-of-way and put in a turn lane, it will be wider than it is today. Not necessarily 12 feet, just a couple feet, but we will have better detection, better signals, better phasing, hopefully better visibility of the whole thing. Broadway and Walnut Grove is also a joint paving project because the property boundaries are very commingled over there. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but one side of the street for 3 houses is the county, and then the next 2 blocks is ours, and then the other side, and it's really a mess. So we put it out to bid to do the whole scope, and the county is right now approving an agreement where they'll pay their share. I would also lobby that the street condition is so poor now, and traffic, both those are 2 elements that add to driver frustration and even anger, road violence. We hope to make all that better as well by having the best streets in California. Let me go back to, it's the same situation for Las Tunas and Mission. I think the right-of-way we're purchasing tends to be, even on Valley, the right-of-way we're purchasing tends to be around 2 feet of property. It's just what we need to fit that extra lane in there. Again, I think there will be safety enhancements, and I don't think it's going to change driver behavior other than to get cars through that are trying to get through, more cars through. I don't know if that satisfies you. That's the answer I have. Bike lanes. Okay, yes. Yeah. I believe you recently wrote, I don't know, was it you requesting on Broadway? The Sharrows, the Class 3?
Yeah, it was me.
I think it was probably you.
For a similar repave.
Yes, because we're repaving Broadway as this year's paving program. Yeah, I'll comment on that. I think you brought up a very good point. I brought pages of the 2014 master plan. It's a regional plan that focused on a couple cities, but we're one of them. And the shared bike lane, you've actually got me thinking that I'm going to look into purchasing our own stencil. We do a lot of our own painting. We have a paint truck and a paint cart. I think it is a good idea when we repave streets on many of these, but not all of these. So I'm not in full agreement. An example is Broadway. We'll be repaving Broadway, and I think you suggested this plan does actually say put a Class 3 lane on Broadway. The same report also says Class 3 lanes are not recommended for streets with speeds over 25 or more than 3,000 daily traffic. So I went to a speed study that we did, that we have to do to make our speed limits enforceable every, 7 or 10 years. And Broadway alone has 11,600 average daily traffic, and it recommends below 3. So that's a street I can't support. But there are other, in this list, the speed study doesn't do all these streets because it's just not that interested in low traffic residential streets. But for those streets, I think it is appropriate. We should put up signs and sharrows. I don't think a bicycle going down a low traffic, low speed residential street is a hazard. I think on Broadway, you're encouraging the bicyclists to get run over. It's a shame, but with that much traffic and the higher speeds, it's more likely to happen. So there's some I support and some I don't.
Part of that is local knowledge too, just,
Yeah.
we're using those streets every day.
Cyclists tend to have better local knowledge because they're not that far from where they live, but, or work.
But we were talking about the choice between Las Tunas or Broadway,
Yeah.
or going down to Mission, or, there are alternatives
Yeah.
with wider streets or
Yeah.
less traffic streets.
Yeah.
I'm sure Broadway's the first choice in that one.
For a Class 2, which is actually a designated area of the street for bicycles, I think Del Mar is appropriate because it is very wide. It just happens to be way wider than traffic needs. And part of that Metro grant, which is 10 freeway local toll road return, they collect money from the tolls and they have to give some of it back every few years. So we applied for a competitive grant and we won. That will fund the extension from roughly Mission all the way up to San Marino of that. So, and San Marino has it, so it's connectivity to another city. It's even an extra bonus. You did bring up Las Tunas. Las Tunas has a Class 2 from our east city limit to San Gabriel-ish, a little past.
They have it, but
And-
the traffic is so fast there.
Yeah, and then it dies down. I don't think Broadway can fit a Class 2, and I don't think it's appropriate for Class 3.
It's also probably one of the widest streets in the city, isn't it?
Which one?
Uh,
Las Tunas?
Las Tunas, east of San Gabriel Boulevard.
Yeah, it's
Very
very
wide.
wide, and it has one. As soon as if you look at the satellite photos, as soon as you see that Class 2 lane ends, all of a sudden there's commercial parking. It's all parking stalls where we could either lose the parking and fit in a bike lane, that would be easy, but that's going to upset a different group of people. So I think I see Las Tunas as a struggle. There's just so much real estate, curb to curb, and it is crowded and fast.
And there is that bike lane, I've been on It's plenty of space.
Yeah.
If you want to turn left, you have to cross, 3 lanes of 45
Yeah,
mile an hour
it doesn't, I mean, if,
So it's just hard.
I wouldn't want to ride it on a bicycle. It's not a great argument, but it's just the reality of the geometry and the nature of our traffic here. Did you have another one? I can't remember them all.
Oh, it's the sidewalks, just how.
Oh, a program. We, the GIS will document it. We do not have a program yet. Like I said, our funds are not general funds, they're all grants, so they're limited, and we've been heavily focusing on asphalt condition. Well, which benefits bicycles. I mean, bicycles do worse in a pothole than a car does. But that's been our focus, it's still our focus. It probably will be our focus one more year. There's a few more streets that kind of irk me. I can think of Hermosa and a few alleys that are still not in great shape. But we've really made fantastic progress. The county is actually right now updating our citywide survey of our condition. Every 3 years, we have to hire an independent party to evaluate our pavement condition, give it a score of 0 being like dirt and 100 being a new street. And we get a citywide average. They actually prorate the area of every street, width times length times its condition, and we get a score. And when I got here 5 years ago, it was 62, and today it's an 82. And so we're going to keep on that. There's a few more streets that are bad, but the
We're
worst ones-
starting to really stand out, though, because everything else is in such good shape.
Yeah, well, I mean, they always have. I delayed Valley intentionally. It's we have a lot of flagship businesses, the hotels. It's a lot of people's opinion of San Gabriel is seen from Valley, and it's terrible. But I tried several other grants. I'm trying everything I can so that we don't pay for it and I can use my money elsewhere. I had 2 grants turned down, and the intersection project, the county's managing the design of that. We have what they call 30% design done. It took a year, and then another year, nothing happened. We asked them to continue it, and they just got swamped and changed staff. And for those projects, I'd say for the 3 intersections on Valley, absolutely nothing has happened in a year and a half, which is a shame, because I tried to throw in money to pave the intersections plus 500 or 600 feet in every direction, just to try and see how much I can get paving done for free. But it's been such a delay, and there's still right-of-way acquisition, which adds a year. So I have design, probably a year, right-of-way acquisition, another year, and then construction. So I'm years out, so I kind of gave up. So this year we're going to go for Valley. We're going to make it nice. Anyway, I'm leaving the questions and just bragging, but I don't do any other clarification?
I guess just minor things like, I mean, you talk about parking, like that, where you said that lane ends on
Yeah.
West Tunis for parking. There's rarely cars parked there, so, and that's something
I know.
you would do real
I mean,
stuff instead of me saying.
I just looked at the Google map, and it's full of parked cars at the time they took the picture. And I'm sure if you talk to the businesses, yeah, of course I need that parking. They're all going to say that. If I talk to a bicyclist, yeah, sure, I need the bike lane. You get a different answer. I don't know. That's a separate battle that's really beyond my decision. It could be even council if they want to eliminate the business parking in lieu of a bike lane.
That's a whole nother battle.
Yeah, I don't have a strong opinion either way. It's just I'll do what council wants.
So you gentlemen are always free to get together and have a conversation outside of our meeting.
Sure.
But I want to thank you both for coming up and giving us more information.
As a parting gift, I'm going to give you the results of our speed study. So those are the streets that we looked at with their daily, no, you can't. But it's not too many streets. And it does have the average daily traffic. It has the speeds, so.
Consider it city swag.
All right.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Okay, I think that's it. If we can move on and approve the consent calendar. Do I have a motion? Okay, I'll second that. Jackie? caught you off guard, didn't I?
Chair Clowitter,
Yes.
Vice Chair Schwartz, Commissioner Kratman,
Yes.
and Commissioner Lee. Motion passed by 4-0.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Sam, if you could give us the directions for the public hearing tonight. We have one item.
Yes, I am also caught off guard. Okay, so copies of tonight's agenda are available on the city's website at www.sangabrielcity.com and also on the table that's provided at the entrance. If you wish to speak on an item this evening and are not the project applicant, please fill out a speaker card and submit it to the recording secretary. Please write down the item number that you would like to speak on, and speakers will be called up one by one. There is one public hearing this evening to be considered by the Planning Commission. For the item tonight, staff will provide a brief summary of the staff report, followed by any clarifying questions from the commission. And prior to the close of the public hearing, the commission may ask additional questions of staff or the applicant. However, once the public hearing is closed, the opportunity for public comment has ended, and once the public hearing portion is closed, the item will move into commission deliberation. And so with that, staff is ready to present the public hearing item.
Okay, our first and only item is item A, 401 East Mission Road, planning case number VAR 24-002 for a variance. And Sam, do you have our staff report?
Yes, thank you, Chairman and members of the Planning Commission. As mentioned, the item before you is located at 401 East Mission Drive, and the case number is Variance 24-002, and the applicant is Kelly Akashi. There we go. So the project site is Zone C3, General Commercial. Surrounding properties to the east and south are R2 low-density multifamily residents, and to the north are R1 single-family properties. The subject property is triangular shape, is approximately 9,300 square feet in size, and constructed with a 6,500 square foot building that was constructed in 1915, so that is original construction. The proposed project is an artist studio with ancillary storage, which are both allowed uses in the C3 zone. However, the variance this evening is for the parking requirement for the business and the use. Historically, the building has been occupied by a wholesaling warehousing business. The building has been vacant for the past 2 years, and according to the city's code, warehousing is a prohibited use in the C3 zone. Wholesaling and manufacturing require a conditional use permit. The parking requirement for studio use is 150 square feet, requires 1 parking space. For wholesale use, the parking is 1 parking space for 400 square feet. And for warehousing use, the parking space is 1,000 plus 300 for office use. And for manufacturing is 1 space for 500 square feet. So the required number of parking space for really any of the uses discussed will range anywhere from 17 parking spaces to 40 at its most intensive use. The variance application this evening is to allow the business to use the existing 3 angled striped parking that is on site, and also any available public street parking. Here is just an example. It's provided as part of the commission's packet, just some art pieces that will examples that the artists will put together at the proposed site. It's also the location of where the art will be stored until used or until it's taken out of the space. And here's just some visual of the area itself. To the left-hand corner is the property that's looking northwest. And then next to it east is a 2-story, 4-unit apartment complex. And across the street south on Mission Road are the single-family homes. And then on Pearl Street, again to the right, at the left corner would be the property. On Pearl Street, right next door to the east is a single-family home, and across the street are also additional single-family homes. And then diagonal at the corner would be the temple use that is on Pearl Street. And so, again, the request is for the parking. And the variance application requires the Planning Commission to make the findings that are listed on the slide right here. First being that there are special circumstances to the property. And as cited in the staff report, the shape, the size, the dimensions are very limiting, and even with significant demolition to the building, again, the Planning Commission has seen that the site is very limited on space, and any demolition of the building may not necessarily result in being able to provide even one additional parking space. And whether or not this application will grant any special privileges, this is a C3 property. Again, the existing conditions of the lot and the building are unique to this site, and it's different from any other C3 property within the city. In fact, the conditions are even more challenging than a residential property in the city. The use is consistent with the general plan and the zoning. And so with that, again, going into the consistency with the general plan for economic development, it's to allow a business to finally occupy the building after the long vacancy. Also to the architecture itself. This property has been identified to be in one of the planning districts for that has historic value, and so that is to be looked at and discussed at a future date, but again, original construction to the site. And then also to reinforce the value of the neighborhood. And again, this is maintaining the existing condition without significant construction, remodel to the property itself, and really just making use of what is on the site. And the environmental review, the project was reviewed for under the California Environmental Quality Act, and was determined to be exempt under section 15303, class 3 for the conversion of small structure, and this is in terms of the use. And then the public notice was posted on the property and mailed to adjacent properties. Staff did receive 2 phone calls just asking for clarifying questions on what the variance was for and really what the project contained. And both calls were satisfied with just knowing that there wasn't going to be major changes to the property and that the business will be not an intensive use to the site. And so with that, the recommendation before the Planning Commission is to adopt a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of San Gabriel, California, approving planning case number variance 24-002 for a parking variance to allow for an artist studio use at 401 East Mission Drive, subject to the recommended conditions. And this concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you, Sam. Do we have any clarifying questions from the, any commissioners there? Okay. Is the applicant here?
Yes, I'm here.
You want to come up and just tell us a little bit about your business?
Hi, thank you for having me, and thank you for hosting this application today. My name's Kelly Akashi. I'm the artist and applicant. And you just want me to talk about what I do a little bit.
Yeah, what are you going to do there?
What am I going to do there? I'm going to make some stuff.
Okay,
and I'm
cool.
definitely going to store it there. I have 2 part-time assistants I work with. I also work with different facilities in the greater county. So I spend a lot of time out of the studio making things and then bringing it to this, hopefully this studio, to then assemble them and photograph them and store them until they get shipped out. So that's the primary use of it. I've been working out of a, 600 square foot studio. So my operations are pretty low. And yeah, that's kind of how it works.
Okay, very good. It's a wonderful old building. Just,
Oh my God.
yeah,
I would be so happy to be the steward of this building.
wonderful. And also to make it economically viable. I commend you for that too. Any questions?
The conditions that were proposed here? Yes.
Hours of operation and that kind of thing.
Yes, yes, I don't need to be working any extraordinary hours. I would prefer not to be honest.
Jane?
Applications, you are going to be the tenant, right? Not the owner of the building?
I am going to be the owner of the building.
The owner of the building,
Yes.
okay, okay. So if that's the case that, like, I'm just following up what Jerry was saying, you read all the conditions of the approval, like maintenance of like graffitis within 24 hours, you have to clean it up, blah, 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 right? Okay, okay, got it.
I don't want, yeah, that's going to be taken care of. I would be very happy to take care of this building well.
Awesome, awesome, thank you. One follow-up on the operations. So it's going to be your studio, and you intend to have exhibits or art shows there?
No, I exhibit at other places. So I actually work with a gallery in the city of Los Angeles, so I wouldn't be hosting any exhibitions at my space.
Oh, okay, okay. So I don't think you would be anticipating like a lot of crowds, gatherings, or like taking over the streets?
I don't want that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Sounds like a perfect use for that facility.
Okay,
so-
great.
All right.
Okay, thank you so much for having me.
Well, thanks for coming. Any other public comment? Nope. Okay, we're going to go ahead and close that portion of the hearing and open this up for commissioner discussion. And I can't think of a better use for that building. You know, welcome to San Gabriel. Talk about a landlocked building with no parking, and built in what, 1915, when I'm sure Mission was a dirt road, and it still stands. So I just think that's wonderful that we can make it viable again. Anyway, Jerry? Agreed. Gentlemen?
I agree with what's already been said. It's kind of San Gabriel's version of the Flatiron Building.
Love it.
Perfect for an artist.
It really is.
So I just want to say thank you for choosing San Gabriel to do your business. Appreciate that. Yeah, I have no problem approving this. I think it would be great for our city to have, you know, like to have you and a renowned artist in the city of San Gabriel.
Okay. Okay, I'll second that. And Jackie, we'll take a vote.
Chair Cluitter,
Yes.
Vice Chair Schwartz. Yes. Commissioner Krapman
Enthusiastic, yes.
All right.
and Commissioner Lee.
Yes.
The vote is 4-0, motion passed.
Congratulations and best of luck to you. I hope you're successful and happy there. Okay, let's see, wrapping up here. Sam, any comments?
Oh, boy, yes, Chair. So this is staff's comment to Chair Colritter. This is the chair's last meeting as a commissioner, so not just as chair. And on behalf of the planning team, we would like to extend our appreciation for all the time that you have given serving as a commissioner, for running efficient meetings, and for all the comments and feedbacks that you provide to project applicants and business owners, homeowners, and to staff. And just so that this commission is aware, Tom has been a planning commissioner for 20 years. And so a list of some of the projects that he's been involved with, long range, would include the city's current general plan, all the specific plans, all the design guidelines, the Fairview Village strategy, also countless code amendments associated with all of those long-range plans, all the mixed-use projects, lots of condominium subdivisions, CUPs, variants such as this evening, and then also leading the virtual meetings during the pandemic. And so,
Those were fun.
yeah. Not only that, Tom has worked with many staff changes over the years. Jackie has been a part of a good portion of them, but I'm very thankful to catch you at your tail end, Tom. And I always learn from every commissioner on every commission. Every comment is helpful, again, not just to the applicant, but also to staff. We always learn a lot. And so we hope to continue on all the hard work that you've accomplished all these years. So we thank you and we wish you the best. And you're just going to have a lot of free time on Monday evenings now.
I won't miss any more football games.
Yes.
All right, thanks, Sam. Like she said, it's been 20 years, and that's a long time. So I feel like the commission is in good hands. You know, we've been able to do some pretty incredible things in the city. One thing that we don't talk about is the massage parlor ordinance. And, you know, that was one of those where you take a lemon and you make lemonade out of it. It was just a disaster. And, you know, the community got together and we worked it out. So, you know, we didn't abolish the massage parlors, and we also put a limit on how many we could have in the city. So anyway, that's, every once in a while government works, and it's been a real pleasure to work. I guess it's been the last 5 years as the chair. But the other thing is just, like you said, just the people. Have met a lot of wonderful people. Jackie, give you a hug. You've been there just about as long as I have, except you were much younger when you started. And Sam, you're filling some shoes from some very able people, and you're filling them well. So, and I appreciate everything you've done. Paul, thanks for your help. Commissioners, like I said, I think we're in good hands. You'll have some new blood next month, and hopefully you can carry on with it. So anyway, that is my speech for tonight. Okay, we're going to thank you so much. Okay, we're going to adjourn to a meeting I'm not coming to, and it's going to be on June 10th at 6:30 here in the chambers. So we are